how to hold sales team accountable. Your sales team may not be underperforming. They may just not have a scorecard of what winning looks like. It's really hard to hold a sales team accountable if the number of their accountability has never fully been documented or explained. By the end of this video, you're going to have a scorecard-driven system for the accountability of your sales team. It's so funny when we talk to contractor owners a lot of times, especially if they've got a team that's responsible for business development or sales or marketing or whatever, they'll say things like this. I gave them the goalpost. I read all these books that says just give them the goalpost and let them run. Hire a bunch of racehorses and let them go. And that's all good. It works in conferences, gets people to stand up and cheer. It makes for good books. But in reality, life is all about repetition, predictability, and meaning. I remember there's a verse one time that was written by a guy who was traveling around Turkey and Greece and all this, and he was writing letters in the early New Testament time. And he said this: learn how to live a quiet life. Work with your hands. And so it's interesting to think about just the repetition of a quiet life. And a lot of times we want to live life from peak to peak to peak, and we never pay attention to the troughs that are in between or the climbs that are up from that trough to get to the peak. And a lot of times when it comes to marketing and sales, we live in a world of hype, and we don't live in a world of process. Too many times we go to an expo, we go to a talk, we go to a convention, whatever it might be, and we're just looking for a Band-Aid to solve the gaping wound of a sales problem. Well, the reality is most times we don't have a sales problem. We don't have a marketing problem. I'll never forget, I was in Austin, Texas. I was speaking at a Build Expo, and right after, this guy comes up to me with all the Texas swagger that you can imagine. He even had the cowboy hat on, the cowboy boots, everything. He comes right up to me, and he goes, "Hey, man, I got to tell you something. I know what we need more sales." And he turned a one-syllable word into 3 syllables, which I was still trying to figure out and wrap my brain around as he was going about it. And we got to talking a little bit. And as we were talking, I said, "Hey, man, are you open to some feedback? I'd love to give you some feedback." And, he said, I don't know if he was, but he said he was. So we got to talking, and I said, "Hey, I want to let you know that sales is like a magnifying glass. It's kind of like jet fuel. If you pour jet fuel on an already raging fire, what are you going to get? You're just going to get a greater raging fire." Or like a magnifying glass. If you take a magnifying glass on an already written page, what are you going to get? Just a bigger written page. Pretty much the same thing. Well, that's what sales are. If you take sales, the gasoline of sales, and you pour it on a chaotic business that is low on accountability, then what you're going to get is less accountability, right? You're going to get more of a culture of a lack of accountability and more chaos that starts to creep in. So what we want to do is identify that sales is not your problem, marketing is not your problem, operations is not your problem. What we have is a process problem. So the product that we serve is not our product. The process by which we deliver the product is the product that we're looking to sell. And so we need to go back to ourselves and ask ourselves, if we're having a hard time keeping our sales team accountable, what's the process that we've asked them to be a part of, number one? And B, what is the process of accountability with that sales team? All right, so let's break this down in stages. The first thing that we've got to do before we can hold a sales team accountable is we've actually got to map out what is the workflow of your marketing and sales team. So from now on, I'm going to call it a business development workflow, all right? Because we're trying to develop business. During the pandemic years ago, it was actually a boon for the construction industry, but it was a bust for those who were in business development. What do I mean by that? I mean, there were higher sales than ever. Yeah, but we trained our marketing and sales people, instead of being outbound, going to shake bushes and develop business and do all this stuff. What we did is we put them behind a counter and they bellied up at the bar and started taking orders because the phone was just ringing. Well, it made these folks kind of fat and happy. So now in the market we're in today, they actually have to go out and develop business. And a lot of them are getting pushback to their owners going, "Oh, I didn't have to do that last year or 3 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever. Business just came to me. That's your fault. You need to develop this." So what we need to do is we need to map out what the business development workflow looks like in our business before we can ever hold it accountable. Here's all I want you to do. You ready? I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to click record on the voice memo of your phone as soon as we're done with this video, and I just want you to talk. Start from left to right, marketing to sales. Now, in business, you got 4 core systems: marketing, sales, operations, and admin. In fact, if you click on the link in the description below, I give an entire masterclass on how to run a construction company. It is well worth your time, and I will warn you, it is a long video. Why? Because it is a true masterclass. I'm going to give you soup to nuts on how to run a construction company. So click on that link in the description below so you can better understand a process roadmap, an operating system, and all those things. So I'm talking about a very specific part of those things. And I think you'll find great value in that video. So when we come back, we want to map out the business development workflow, those 4 core systems in this order. Marketing has to come before sales. People have to know who we are before we can sell them anything. Sales has to go before operations. They have to sign a contract before I actually deliver a service. The service has to come before the administration and accounting. We've got to start producing before we can account and do all that other kind of stuff. I realize there's nuances to that, but you get my point generally. So in order to do that, I want you to go and rewind. Think of one of those old typewriters. You bring it all the way back. Go back to marketing. What's the very first thing that happens so somebody knows who you are? Imagine you're just standing there with your business and nobody knows who you are. What do? For us, for instance, it could be a YouTube video that people find us. It could be me speaking on a stage. So if you look at our master process roadmap, the very first box is what's called a trade show box, because that's about 50% of our business comes from when we speak. And so in that trade show box, it shows every process of that. That's a part of our business development process, okay? So I would start and go, okay, one of the things that we do is we try to sign up for trade shows. We try to get in front of people to speak. So I'm just talking right into my phone, everything that I can think about. And then somebody hears this, we have them sign up a clipboard, then we meet with them one-on-one. We go through this slide deck. We answer these questions. I'm giving detail of everything I'm doing. This might take you 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, just to go through everything that you do. I want you to brain dump it out of your head. So once we're done, don't worry about perfection. I'm just worried about implementation. Hit record, start talking. Give as much as you can until it exhausts yourself, okay? And then hit stop. Don't delete it. Keep it. And then what we're going to do is go to AI, and you're going to go into your AI bot, preferably a paid AI, not the free ones that are spitting you advertisements and all that. You're going to upload this, and you're going to give it a prompt. Hey, I want you to turn this into a full business development workflow that my marketing and sales team can see. And then from there, we're going to turn this into a scorecard that's going to hold them responsible. I need you to AI to tell me what are the core goalposts that I need to be holding them accountable to. Get AI to help you with those sorts of things. It can give you those sorts of numbers. And what you'll come out with is a visual workflow for your marketing and sales team to see what their job is, number one, and go, hey, this is your job. This is not my job. So the outreach, the going and speaking, the posting on social media, the updating the website, that is your role. That's what I'm asking you to do. And then I'm going to have you on a scorecard, and that scorecard is going to show you what of those tasks you need to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, etc. And then from there, we're going to meet one-on-one in a weekly marketing and sales meeting. All right, this is a key. Every single week, 50 weeks a year, you can take 2 weeks off. You need to have a 1-hour, agenda-driven, leader-led marketing and sales meeting, not a sales and marketing meeting. Flip it around. It's a marketing and sales meeting. And you're going to start that meeting with big wins really quickly. And you're going to go straight into marketing metrics. And then you're going to go straight into sales metrics. And you're going to end your time asking, where are you stuck? What do you need help with? And you guys are going to mastermind and ideate around those ideas. So your question is, what metrics? Well, the response is, it depends on what you do in your business development workflow. I could sit here and tell you one of your metrics is number of website leads that are generated through the contact sheet, but it turns out that 80% of your business comes from word of mouth. That's a relevant metric for you. And so what you really need to be tracking is the number of word of mouth referrals that we receive weekly and where they come from, right? And so it's very specific, but that is a marketing specific thing. A sales specific thing comes anything related to the contract, trying to get that person who's raised their hand, who knows, likes, and trusts you, into a contractual relationship at that point. So in sales, it might be something like this. The number of prospects that we got from marketing, and some people might be both marketing and sales, but the number of prospects we got from marketing that we converted to booked appointments. So I would encourage you to go into your marketing and go into your sales and try to drill it down to one number. So a number for marketing might be this, the number of booked appointments. Your number for sales might be this, the number of booked contracts or closed contracts. That's it. If you want to boil it down to one thing, and then you need to back it up, and what are the activities that get you to a booked appointment, and what are the actions that get you to a closed client? Back all that up, it should be in your biz dev workshop, and so you can track that number, and then you start looking at the tactics and holding people accountable to that point. I want to give you a real life example that I think will be super helpful. In our business, we're a team of 12, and we've got about 7 people that are not only coaching deliverables, they're professionals, but they also have business development responsibility. Why? It's because they're great coaches, and everything they do in coaching translates to speaking and to educating and doing all those other things. So they might be a part of a networking group. Well, they immediately become the educator for that networking group. It puts them in front of the room and allows them to display and showcase their expertise at that point. So here's what we've done, is we've got marketing metrics that tracks the number of booked appointments that they can get. with tactics and actions. And then we've got sales metrics, the number of closed leads they turn into clients, with tactics and actions. So what does our marketing look like? Well, booked appointments is what we track in our marketing vertical, but the tactics to get there are the number of lunch and learns done in a month, the number of speaking engagements in a month. So for us, that hits on all of those things. Well, what are those things for you? Then if you go to sales for us, it's the number of closed clients. Well, what are we tracking? It's the number of people who actually showed up to their booked appointments. And then we track the actual sales call. Did they follow our 6 core questions? Tell me about your business. What do you want? What are the roadblocks? What does life look like in 3 years? What are you willing to invest? What questions do you have for me? I just gave you our sales script right there. And so those are the tactics that we follow to be able to try to bring a prospect to the point where they convert into a client at that point. So that's a real life example that I'm giving you there, that we're tracking really one number on each, number of booked appointments, number of closed prospects into clients, but then we're tracking a few key tactics that go along with that. But what will inform that for you? If you hit record on your voice memo, do a brain dump of all that, it'll be wildly valuable for you, not just to visually show it, but to also hold your team accountable. Didn't that feel meaty? I mean, that's good stuff. Now you got to go implement it. So Thomas Edison said, vision without implementation, it's hallucination. It's like you're on mushrooms, man. Don't do that. Don't do mushrooms. Instead, what we want you to do is that chaos that you felt when you opened this video, I want to liberate you from that chaos so that you can make time for the things that matter most.